Welcome to PAO Fans International. You're joined by Nick, Panathafan. Welcome back, Panathafan, and Happy New Year.
Thank you, gents. Happy New Year to all.
Let's probably just say New Year because it hasn't
Not so
been,
happy.
yeah, it
Happy
hasn't
moving
been that
forward.
happy.
Yes.
Uh, yeah, as we said, it hasn't been too happy. Let's kick off and explain why. We can actually start with a bit of happy um, news or review. Aris in the Great Cup, 3-0 victory over Aris. Um, that game obviously was the Great Cup. It was a one-off knockout, not the home leg and the away leg. That's in the next round against Bulk. So, courtesy of a Bakasetas hat trick, 16th minute, there was the play outside the box. There was, I think it was Bandelidis that or Palisci that got no, it was Sudeski that got pretty much tackled. Ball fell kindly for Bakasetas, who hit a trademark rocket in between players' legs, went in. 53rd minute, we received a penalty due to a foul from Rose on Swideski, I believe it was. It was just a really clumsy foul. Bakasetas stepped up, buried it, and then once again, the 65th minute, another penalty. Duba being adjudged to be fouled after VAR intervention, and Bakasetas again. That was a carbon copy penalty of the one that he had just scored earlier. Boys, how did we see the uh, Aris game?
Nick, I might go first on this one because I think I'll struggle to go first on the one after that. But look, in terms of the artist game, I thought that based on the balance of play, it did play well. I think we were certainly deserving of a good and a solid win. And from that perspective, I thought the team itself showed an ability to play decent football. We created chances. Having, I think, Tete and Bandelidi playing certainly made a bit of a difference in terms of the energy, the pressure on the ball. It created chances as a result of 4-4-2 as well, with Sederski and Tete up front. That certainly seemed to generate plenty of chances for us as well. So, unfortunately, when we come to the next game, we'll talk about how that was probably a bit of an illusion, but certainly gave us a feeling that we're improving as a team based on that play. Um, Now, could probably argue that because Adi wasn't playing well, and saying that, Adi had a few good chances too, and they could have scored. But overall, Cup is our main goal. We certainly achieved the goal of making it to the semi-finals to play against Bulk, and it was thoroughly deserved it based on the way we played and the amount of chances we created. And truth is that we could have had probably a few more goals to boot as well. So overall, I thought it was very positive. There was a number of positive signs there in some individual players. I'm happy to talk about that separately. But we were certainly. I felt like we could see progress in terms of the team, and I could see some positive direction where the team was going up until that point, anyway.
This game feels like a distant memory given what happened today. But as Panathafan was saying, the cup, we got to go all in on the cup. So mission accomplished there. We're into the next stage. I don't know. I mean, yes, we could have scored more goals. We probably should have. Definitely deserved winners. I wouldn't say this was the perfect performance though, because on another day, or even against better opposition, as we saw this morning, with the chances Artis had, they should have scored at least one or two themselves. And if they did early doors, that could have been a very, very different game. And they've been a nightmare opponent for us, Artis, particularly in the away games the last couple of years, where they have had that one chance and it's gone in. Thankfully, it didn't this time round because the cup is very, very important. The winner of the cup gets the golden ticket into Europe next year. So not only is it the chance for silverware and so the season's a failure, even if we do win the cup. But if we at least can win the cup, we rescue something, and we've got something to look forward to next season. And not only that, we start things a little bit later. It's not going to be rushed like this season, where there's basically no preseason. We get an extra 4 weeks off, which is worth its weight in gold, not only to the players, to the club as well, to get their ducks in a drake in terms of transfers. So if the players want the extra time off, if the club wants the extra time to buy the extra time for transfers, they'd be pushing the significance of the cup. You'd like to think we can do it against Bulk over 2 legs. I mean, even as outsiders, because let's face it, we are going to be outsiders. But I don't trust us. I really don't trust us. I hope they prove me wrong, but I'm worried. I'm worried.
The, the thing,
In this game itself, it was good to see Young then Biss come on. Probably would have liked to see a bit more of him, given it was done and dusted early doors. There's been raps on him now for the last couple of years, so good for a debut for him. Bokos was quite good. Bandelidis, as you said, Panathafan, really good. Brought the energy, as did Tate. And that's it. On to the disaster that was today.
Yeah, I thought the first half was not bad. Monchu missed a sitter for them, absolute sitter. I
for
thought,
his return, there we go. He's
yeah,
back.
and I thought, you know, it was a bit of an arm wrestle, but that second half was a much, much better performance, much improved. We really limit artists what they did. They were going physical, going in dirty, and all just faster, smarter, and we had a better game plan in that second half. I thought it was a job well done, and one of our, best performances under Rafa, considering opponent, the play, everything like that. I thought that was one of our best performances, especially the second half, not so much the first half. And I know, Nick, you said if we win the cup, my hot take is we're going to win the Greek Cup this season.
Mm.
We're
Από το
g-
στόμα σου στο Θεού τα αυτιά. Oh
we
my
we
God, what I'd give, I'd take eighth in the league to win the cup.
We will win the cup. I've just got this good feeling we're probably going to finish what fifth, sixth in the league, but I feel like we're gonna win the cup. That is my take. Said it 2 seasons ago that we're gonna win the cup as well, and we did. I feel this season with just everything that's going on, I feel like the cup is the target, and the cup is what we're gonna win.
That's right. You said it. And when we'll win the cup and Terim won't be the coach,
Yeah.
which was exactly the way it panned out.
Benitez will be the coach this time.
That's what I was going to ask
Benitez will
next.
be the coach. He won't get sacked. But we will win the
The
cup.
Tarafla won't pay 9 million to pay him out to sack
No,
him.
no way. But yeah, that's my take. Look, we got Bulk in the next round, the semi, home and away leg. Ike knocked out, Olympiacos knocked out. In the other side, it's Levadeikos and Orfi. Yeah, it's pretty much whoever wins between Panathinaikos and PAOK, which I believe it's going to be us over the 2 legs, um, will be strong favourites to win the cup. So yeah, and good to see Bakasetas getting a hat trick, the first player in a while to get a hat trick as well, especially in the Greek Cup. Um, so that was good for him as well. Really good captain's knock by him.
The
Um,
last time we won the cup, it was Bulk in the semis as well on penalties that we beat.
yes.
Correct.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah.
The one thing though, I think, if the benefit of hindsight, like I think Artie lost against Larissa on the weekend, and I think
Yes.
it probably gave us the illusion that they're better than what they've normally have been. And they're quite weak at the moment. So, with the benefit of hindsight, I think that the 3-0 scoreline is didn't made us look better than what we were, as this morning showed us, unfortunately.
But the thing is, Orphy had beaten Ike as well in now Philadelphia, so you kind of thought that form might be out the window. So I just think we know Artis' history with us. They go in hard and dirty every single time. They go in to either do some damage, result, or on the field wise, off the field wise. Luckily, we avoided anything like that this time around. We saw that in the first game in the league where Jeff got pulled down, and we should have had that penalty. They go on, just you know, just really shit circumstances, and they score. Um, so glad we got that win, and I thought it was a good performance against, Artis was a solid team. I think Monchu's a good player. That Trerejo, whatever his name is, the winger, he's pretty solid as well for them as well. The other guys are real hacks like Rose. He's a massive hack, and Alcaraz as well. He should have, he possibly could have gotten sent off as well during that game. He was very lucky to stay on the pitch. So that's for me the artist take. Next one, the disaster. 4-0 against Ike in the Athens derby. And it was Jovic, all 4 goals. 15th minute, the first one where I think it was Zaruri that turnover. And if you watch the goal, I really blame him as well as the culprit. He didn't really track back. It was more of a casual run back and allowed Rota to just have space. I equipped in the ball. Jovic was, it was a good poacher's finish from Jovic to score that. 57th minute, that one. So, and I can't really blame Jedvaj. Jedvaj was marking Jovic there. It was just a good run, and I just got his toe onto it, put a pass off on. Um, the second one, it was a silly free kick given by Tuba. Tuba just gave a really silly foul from the edge of a box where more towards the corner, resulting in a free kick. That free kick went to an unmarked, I think it was Relvas, completely unmarked, headed it into the path of Jovic, who had a simple tap in. The third one, it was just they just on our right hand side just came in, took a shot, hit the post, ricocheted, went straight to Jovic. Like he was blessed to get that in, for an easy tap in again. And then the fourth goal in the 79th minute, that was just the players had given up at that point. Cortinas just allowed the Ike player to just dribble past him, and then he just cuts it back. Calabria just completely gave up his run, and Jovic was there once again for the thing. So that's how the goals went. Let's talk about the game itself. As much as we don't want to, let's just talk about the game itself.
Well, what I was going to say is, I personally want to keep the game talk to a minimum because the players who stick on there, they're getting paid good money, living it up. Greece, Athens in winter to live relative to the rest of Europe. They're living the dream, getting paid well, getting paid on time. The club, no one at the club's putting pressure on them to win. So there's no care factor there. But all 4 goals, soft, preventable, they all come from either not preventing the cross, not tracking back, not getting tight to Jovic. I mean, AEK has scored 7 goals in 2 games against us. It took them 9 games, I think it was, under Jovanovic to do that. It was something insane. They've done it now in no time.
In 9 games, we conceded 6.
In 9 games, we conceded 6. Jovic, one man, has scored 7 in 2. And if they didn't learn from last time that he can be a threat around the box, what will it take? What will it take? No, the common sense to get close to him. But again, like I said, they don't care. They've let how many coaches down, these players, time and time again, year in, year out. Whatever we were saying this time last year against Panathafan, you can copy and paste and say it again now, basically. They didn't learn their lesson, which is mind-blowing. That is, the one guy scored 7 goals against us in 2 games. And for me, what's more important for me is the where to from here. I don't know where we go from here. I got no idea what to expect against Ferencváros. Different topic. We'll get onto that later. There was a few hundred of our fans after the game went to Koropi and waited for him. Cops were there. Words were said. I don't know how heated it got after that. But seriously, as I said, these guys are getting paid big money. No care factor, no fight, no pride. It's the same every year. It's the same under 13 years of Alafuzos now. It's 16 years without a title. How much more as fans can we take? Because The ones that I feel sorry for are the fans, both abroad as in us, that have to get up at stupid o'clock more often than not to watch, and the ones in Greece that live it. That it's in their face. They get out of their front door, it slaps them in the face. That's all they see at work, at school, etc., etc. They can't escape it. We can't escape it. Kami fika me. I don't know. I don't know how else I can phrase it. I mean, it was pathetic. It was pathetic. The response at 2-0 where they just down tools. Even under Alonso, we were seeing not he was separate story. He was a massive fraud. We spoke about it at length at the time, but even Alonso would shut up shop back then. Rafa's derby record needs addressing. Again, early doors. I'm out of everyone, and again, this is what we were saying with Rui last year after Panseraikos, the minimal blame to Rui, and now fast forward a year later, minimal blame to Rafa because in the grand scheme of things, he's still getting his feet under the table. Really, most of these players aren't his players. He's still adjusting, still learning. The only thing I would say is he's got to fix his derby record moving forward because we've got those two crunch games against Bulk, home and away in the cup, and it's just little things like for me, Yedvay shouldn't have started. He's our fourth choice centre back for a reason. He most likely won't be at the club in a few months' time. Ingerson, for me, is better than him. Ingerson should have started. It's just a little things like that I would say about Rafa. The rest is the players that have cost so many coaches their jobs, as I've said. And Alafuzos was there. He was present. A penny for his thoughts. But again, we've seen with him, he doesn't know the game that well. What's the care factor like from him? The whole thing. This it's fuck. This is Alafuzos 101. This whole season. Because this, for me, this is worse than what it was under the Vonis era. At least back then, we were seeing young kids from our academy that were fighting, that were trying. Okay, the finances weren't there, but there were reasons, there were mitigating circumstances for what was going on the pitch. Now, what's transpired this season with money? Our squad on paper is worth more than Aches. Seriously, professional footballers that threw the towel in early doors again. I'm really worried how the rest of the season is going to go. And what else is there to say? I mean, we've spoken about our issues everywhere, from up front to defense. The big issues, the elephant in the room is the midfield. We'll talk about transfers. Even that hasn't been fully addressed yet. They've had over 2 weeks to do that. I'm worried about the rest of the season.
I'll I'll start off with one name, and that's Rui Vitoria, who didn't approve of the players that we signed in large part, who worked hard to get sort of no goals scored in a lot of the games. And in the European games, I think he did well to keep the goals conceded to a low, who tried to instill some discipline, gave him an extra hard pre-season, these players, and then poor guy was getting love from no one, got sacked. Players rumored that they had a falling out with him or they
It was
didn't want
too
him.
hard. The training was too hard. That says it
And
all.
how, and how Conte was a breath of fresh air and how everyone loved him as a manager and yada, yada, yada. And so, all right, players, you got rid of the coach who was trying to get some discipline into your playing style. You got rid of him. What have you done since? And the answer's nothing.
But what
And
coach can do something with these players? That's the thing.
there wouldn't
That
be many.
midfield
Yeah.
is a absolute train wreck.
And I think that's where Rafa has got a lot of responsibility for today's result. He's not innocent at all. So don't for a second think I'm excusing him. At the same time, though, that squad, with all the money we made in the off season, which was a record season in terms of revenue, that not even close to anything else we've ever done. And yet here we are, probably the worst squad that I can remember. And we're less competitive versus the days when Donny was coach and we had the kids who actually had a bit of fight and spark and they were fighting to the end, as opposed to what was one of the weakest performances in recent history. And to lose 4-0 against AEK, I think it's the worst result against AEK since 1940. So it's what an absolute disgrace. They should. I'm glad the fans went to got up here and protested, and I'm hoping the stories come out. There was tomatoes thrown at them, and they were embarrassed big time. And I'd like to know which one of our players actually went out to speak to them, see which one had the balls to confront them and say sorry for what they put up, because that was a disgrace, absolute disgrace. And I'll go back to Rui Vittoria. I'm not saying Rui is a mastermind coach or he's the best thing for us moving forward, but he could tell early on he was trying to fix a massive problem. But instead of allowing him to fix the problem, they decided he was the problem. And that's the cancer that is our club right now and has been for years. Instead of working hard to overcome our issues, we take the quick fix, throw money at it, and hope the problem goes away. And that's where we're at now. We got rid of the hard worker. We brought in Benitez on the big money, hoping that was going to fix the problem and go away. Uh-uh. That's rubbish. That's bullshit. As a management, you have absolutely failed again. And as management, I'll tell you, the club's got a cancer, and instead of taking chemotherapy to fix that cancer, you're taking flu tablets or cough syrup. No, that's bullshit. That's all I say.
As soon as I heard it, like I said, as soon as the excuses came out that training was too hard, that's what I thought, Opa, what are they doing here back then with Rui?
Back then, yeah. And I know that I'm going back in time and we should be talking about the game,
It's
and
all relevant though,
it is all relevant. I think there is a
because the
storyline.
shortcuts, they're evident now with the Downing tools at 2-0.
Yep. Yep. And I think if you go through the squad today, like you said, Yedvai started when you shouldn't have. You got Gotzeder playing as left back, and no disrespect to Gotzeder,
He's
but
one of the
that's.
few that can hold his head high from this season, actually.
Oh, I agree.
Given what our expectations of him, when I'm saying it's all relative to what he's getting paid and all that.
Yeah, but he shouldn't be a left back. It's
No,
not his
of
position.
course.
No. And considering we made 40 plus million euros in transfer fees, to be using Gotzeder as a left back, it's a disgrace.
You look at it though, and again, the money we've spent, as you're saying, how many of these guys would start at other clubs? You look at that midfield. Would that midfield start at other clubs in the big four? They definitely wouldn't start under Lucescu and Mendilibar. City Vega is the only one, and that's a maybe. I don't think he would under Lucescu.
I don't think he would either. I'm starting to question whether he's the right choice for that number 6 position moving forward as well.
With him, it's more style. What do you want from your six? He's good to have around if you've got someone that's a lot better than a Siopis that does what Siopis does, but a lot better. And then
Yep.
you've got two different versions for the six, where you got that horses for courses approach.
Yep. And if we had a Maximovic, probably would have been much better. But we don't. We know what happened there. As another transfer fee that we decided was more important. And then it's a classic case of the Borda, who is the biggest mystery of all time. We spent 5 million euros on a player that, he's played half an hour of a season match.
Essentially down to one Vecari, because last year was Bacaseta Sunai.
Makes sense. So, look, one thing I will say about today's game, the first half, I thought we were okay. No, let me rephrase that. I thought that the 1-0 scoreline shouldn't have been worse than that. If anything, could have potentially been either 0-0 or 1-0 at halftime. But the way we conceded and just dropped our pants in that second half, that was the weakest performance I've seen.
I'm worried it burns the youngsters that we've signed, the ones that are playing. Bandelidis didn't start in this one, but that they did. Bandelidis will get a lot of games the back end of this season. I hope it doesn't burn them. I hope they're mentally strong enough to withstand the way this thing is panning out. It took its toll on more experienced guys last year, like Foti. And Forte's got like a new lease of life now in Portugal. I hope it doesn't burn these guys this time round.
And again, there's a lack of leadership, and we've talked about that for a while now. There's a lack of leadership on the ground. And
Yeah.
Bakaseto as a captain, no, I know, never criticised him as a captain, but today he was unable to lift that team.
I don't think anyone could have. Yeah, look, there's a few things I agree with, a few things that I disagree with. Um, I thought that first half we were the better team. Um, I thought even up until the second goal, we were the better team. I think neither team was really creating any big chance. Um, when I say that second goal, it's because they scored almost from the set piece and we allowed them unmarked. Prior to that, no, Ike really didn't create. In that first half, we had more shots on target and more shots overall than Ike did. But what we didn't have was big chances created. Ike really didn't have any big chances created either. But, they found themselves at that point 2-0 up. They were just, for me, Ike was more hungrier. They were more physical. They were bullying us. Gasinovic, Mukudi, they were manhandling Tete. They were just manhandling him. They were just more physical. They were just more hungrier. Their press was better than our press today. Our press was pretty ordinary. Like we're getting up pretty easy. I thought Pelistri was one of the few bright spots in the team. Cortinas was okay. I thought a big culprit was Duba as well. Now I'm putting a lot of the blame. I'm putting about 70%, 65% of the blame on the players, and I'm going to put quite a bit on Rafa because uh, Rafa. There's a couple of things why about Rafa. The first thing is player selection. It I don't understand why. I understand Jedvai coming in for um, Eric Palmer Brown. It would be more to deal with any aerial threat. We know Ike can, cross the ball fair bit, and they scored obviously with two crosses essentially. The first two goals. Um, we were, expecting an Ike team to play a little bit of a long ball, get a bit of a physical, bigger body that challenges well in the air, and Jedvai is that. But we've seen someone probably in the last 4 or 5 games that has dropped performances and is almost untouchable, and that's Stuba. I'm faulting him a bit because his stupidity, and we've seen it a couple of times, his stupidity has cost us a goal and pretty much almost the game at that point. 2-0, it's always going to be a tough us to come back from. At 1-0, we're still in the game. It was a bit of an arm wrestle at that point. We, like I said, outshot them. We're probably the better team up until that point. So very frustrating that, it seems like he's the only one out of that backline that seems to be untouchable. And we're seeing probably him playing the poorest out of all of them as well. So it's just a bit of a head scratcher. The second thing I didn't like, and I'm putting now even more blame on Rafa, I'm jacking it up from 30 to 35%, is his press conference, is what he said post-match that it's a learning lesson. I'm sorry, the learning lesson should have been Bulk, where we lost 2-0 and it should have probably been 4-5-0. The learning lesson isn't Ake. So I completely just reject what he said that and his assessment because completely wrong, completely wrong, and that's what really pissed me off. Just him saying that. Um, it's a derby. You don't need a lesson after your third loss in a derby. Benitez, that's his third loss in a derby. So two from Mike and one from Bulk. So if he thinks now is the lesson, we're already behind. after the third derby loss in a row. So I'm putting quite a bit of blame there on Benitez. Um,
Mhm.
but
That's
yeah,
where I think Alafouzos has to do more. Other owners, even Yanakopoulos, for example, they'd be in his face demanding wins, demanding instant improvement before
but
this derby.
Giannakopoulos, on a side note, has been defending
He's been
Ataman
very
in
patient.
a
Yes, yeah,
bad
yes,
patch. So
yes.
I think we're seeing kind of the Alafouzos taking a little bit of a back step, trying to let Benitez do his job and let
Mm,
the structure come through because
yeah. The flip side is Rafa is experienced. He should know what a derby is, what it's all about.
and that's why it pissed me off when he said those comments. So
And
um
Sturge, I'll jump in just very quickly. You make a
of
great
course.
point. The Park game, we were absolutely terrible, and I'd say we played worse against Park than AEK. So, very good point. We should have lost that one by more than compared to this one.
And I can't even blame Lafont for any of the
Yeah.
goals. Literally cannot blame him. Um, but yeah, like I said, full credit to Ike. They were hungrier. They were more physical. That's it.
And
There's
that was an
nothing.
AEK team there for the taking, really. Winless in their first two games to kick off the new year, relinquish first spot out of the cup. We had a couple of nice 3-0 wins to get some confidence flowing within the squad, and they go dish that shit up. Fucking
Yeah,
prawns, an embarrassment.
Yep.
yeah. So yeah, not a great scoreline. Even though I said I thought we played well up until the 60th, performances don't get you the scoreline that you need. It's just the full 90 minutes, and I ran away with that one. What we did see at the game though was Alafouzos attending with his new son, is what he's been referred to as Alafouzos is like a dad to him already. I don't know if that was a troll post or not, but Andino, the Argentine from Godoy, has arrived, has signed, so it is a done deal. Um, yeah, so Mr. KFC man himself, Alafouzos, did parade him at Hagia Sophia. Um, look, I'm expecting good things from him. There's a lot of wraps around him. I think we've seen a few clubs try to sign him, but Mansour, the president from Godoy, does not make negotiations very easy. Well, obviously wanted to sell him to River, and they can cry me a river because we signed him. He wanted us, so. Um, I think there's a lot of upside with him. Essentially, what 1920. Panathafan. You've got the stats where his Sudamericana performances, goals. You know, his young, raw Argentine youth. I think we're gonna expect some good things from him. He's in the first team essentially in the for that team in the top flight for the Argentine league. So you know I think there's some really good steps. I think that's a prospect if he can develop. He's not going to stay forever. Let's just look at be realistic. 1, 2 years, good years with us. I think we can get a pretty good coin for him if he develops the way he needs to. And I think what this club needs to do for him to succeed, and I think that's why you got Benitez there and you've got Kotolis and Corona there, is to build the foundations of the club. And I think getting the foundations right and then bringing the players like that will be good things. So we just hope that we can see him on the pitch soon because for me, Zaruri has been quite poor. His goals and assists, they're there, Zaruri, but overall, I just I just saw your picture now. Just context, there was a Alafuzos was spotted at the mall just eating KFC with some business associate or some soccer person there. So that's the context there. But with Andino, I think he can easily get a lot of minutes from Zaruri and make that left wing himself because I don't think that's really strong competition for there. Do you guys want to add on Andino?
What I would say is that I think that's the only. If I'm in his position, why? Not that he's probably done his research. 20-year-old kid. Why on earth is he walking into this mess and willingly joining us? All I can think of is it's that avenue, that gateway into top five league. He's into Europe. He gets his foot in the door. I think that's all they could have sold him. I really because Olympiacos tried and failed. River Plate, as you said, tried and failed. Look, I'm a bit more cautious because I learnt my lesson. I had high hopes for Taborda. All reports are he's very different or different position for a start, but very different to Taborda. Let's hope that's the case. We'll give him a chance, but that still stings with Taborda. So I'm still going to be cautious with this one. He's different to Zaruri in the sense he's more unpredictable. He can take his men on. He can go with either foot, cut back in, go run towards the byline, put it in, take his men on. So that's a positive. That's what we've got to see more, a bit more unpredictability because how many times this season already have we been so one-dimensional in the box, especially on that left wing when Zaruri plays game in, game out, and you know what he's going to do when he's got the ball at his feet. So that's one thing to keep an eye out on. Apparently his brother's coming. And Dino's brother, younger brother, is also over. So that's another thing they would have pitched to him. Let's hope it works out. I just think we're going to have to be patient, not to expect miracles from the get-go because he is 20 after all. And if he was the finished article, he would have gone from the Argentinian league straight to one of the big boys in one of the top five leagues. I would like to see him start this time next week in the league.
He doesn't need to go straight to the top five league because
I'm
you
saying
look
if
at
he was the finished article.
yeah, because you look at clubs like Benfica, Sporting, Porto, they've always got the right idea. Get those kids, develop them, on-sell them. And I think I'm pretty sure I said this in the summer. That's the kind of path that we should be looking towards, that kind of model to be realistic. Yeah, and he's a confident kid. He loves to take on players. I don't think we really Palistri does, and that's what really I like watching about Palistri. Um, Takes on players and does a good job. It's got that bit of a zip about him, that little short burst of acceleration, which helps him. So let's hope we get to see him shortly.
Sturge, you talked about the stats, the Copa Sudamericana stats, and yeah, I did a little bit of research because when the rumors were circulating and there was the back and forth with the negotiations, my initial reaction was he plays in the Argentine B League. I mean, how good can he be playing in that league? But once I did a bit of research, that's where I found out he actually has been playing at a very strong, high level. And the Copa Sudamericana was an example of that. We played 8 games. He scored a handful of goals, including against Gremio, that there's a new club, and Atletico Mineiro as well. So he, initial reaction is, oh, geez, this is a high
Bernard
risk.
there.
Yeah, Bernard's club, yeah. So I was initially very concerned that it was a very high risk transfer considering what I thought the level was playing at, but it turns out that whilst it's sort of technically a B league, you still have the opportunity to play against the top teams in the continent. So he certainly had good exposure in the last season.
And consider it as the Europa League equivalent. And if you had a 18, 19-year-old starting and playing and, scoring, you're kind of happy there if that was the European sort of equivalent. So,
Absolutely. And that's where I think I'm more at ease now with the caliber of him as a player, as opposed to when I first found out about the interest.
yeah, the rumors are swelling though about two more players to be signed in this window. a left back and a midfield. They haven't really been too they haven't been really too telling which position that they're looking for, giving away too much on the midfield front. But the midfielder that was doing the rounds is Kroll. I believe that's how it's
It's
pronounced.
still in the background,
He's
still ongoing that one.
he's the background. It was in the transfer rumors that he was the backup option, but it could be likely that he might be now the main target with the backup option not really panning out. So that's going to be an interesting one. The left back was a couple of
Harvey
sorry,
Lopez,
his name. Yeah, Harvey Lopez.
that's gone. That's dead in the water.
Yeah, so there's a couple obviously that identified in Spain regarding left backs. Uh, I'm just scratching my head because, unless Kourtoulis has advised against it, we've got one ready at Levedakos. Just get Vikos, in my opinion.
Yep.
While we're there, just get Tsapras from them as well.
Yep.
Pay him
Yep.
2 million, get them both in. That's what I'll do. It's because he's playing quite well. Tsapras has been very, very good.
Mhm.
Um, that's my opinion. Now, the scouting part, technical directors would have more info, more things, but yeah, I'm not sure why we're not looking at Vikos unless they're looking for a complete starter, which makes me a bit surprised that they're going to give up on Kyriakopoulos, who hasn't been really that bad. He's had probably that one
Yeah.
bad game against Feyenoord, and that's it. We can't really hang on him just for that one bad game when a lot of our players have had multiple bad games. So we'll just see where that
Full
left back lands.
full credit to Kourtoulis Corona for getting an exciting player like Andino over the line. We'll be patient with him, back him, see how he goes and that. But like I said earlier, they've had over 2 weeks to address the elephant in the room, that midfield. They haven't. We'll judge them at the end of the window, 6th of February, but we've really got to get moving. It's hurting us, it's costing us. And the talk was this time last week, things move quick now in transfer windows. The talk was we're going to get two midfielders in. Our good friend Lil Fordos today was saying that's now going to be one. And he was banging his head against the wall with that news. And that one, as you said, Sturge, was likely to be Kral. So have they really, if that's how it pans out, have they really solved the elephant in the room?
Yeah. But they're throwing money at the wrong issue.
Yeah. Look, they from what I've read and just now, discussions with our good friend Leofordo, the midfield looks like it will be more towards the back end of the window. So there's about 2 weeks left. I think it closes on the 6th.
Six.
Yeah. It looks like it's going to be made more towards the close of the window, more after like the 24th or 5th, I read. So yeah, that's on the midfield part. Now, let's just wait and see what's going to happen. Obviously, everyone that watches knows that it should have probably been the first signing of the window, but here we are, 19 days in, and we've got a left wing. So,
Who's not officially signed yet. I know he's in Greece and all, but
And Dino's been announced.
he
he's
has
been
been announced?
announced.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah,
so my apologies.
yeah, yeah. They did it at KFC and for a two-piece feed. Fools
The
didn't
thing
want to
is with
splurge
all
on the
these signings
three.
now, the European list, say we get through to a playoff, only three changes are allowed. If
Yeah,
there's
and
limits on goalkeeper and Chavez has to go in, only two. I think that these are must up front. Then it's only down to one. We could be looking at a situation where Andino misses out. Well,
I
the
think
club record. Is Andino a club record signing? Actually, that's what I forgot to ask you boys. If he's not first, he's got to be second.
I think he
Yeah.
was. He
So if
was. I
they
think.
cost Andino were around that 8 million mark that we've paid for
I
Andino.
think he is the club record just
Yeah.
because of the percentages,
The
etc. The
percentage,
agent fees.
80%.
Yeah,
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, I think it was, but yeah, you did bring up a good point about the European list because we did sell Dragowski. He went to Poland, the team coming first there. Forget their name.
Vicev Lodz.
Yeah, so that's already one automatic change there. I don't see Andino coming to the European list this season. I think it's best just preserve him on his feet in Greece. Um, and yeah. We'll just have to see the other because you're going to have to probably look at bringing Tete and
Definitely today.
Bandelidis as well. So
I would have said the left back and the midfielder would be the ones that come in because
Ahead of today.
I'd say that
I think we need today in those sort of games. Less ball, more open space, counter.
and you
I,
also got to
look,
bring Bandelidis as well that can play both wings. And don't forget we
I'd
sold
lo-
Tete as well. So that's one instant. That's
Mm,
one instant.
true. I didn't think of that one.
but I don't disagree. It's great to have them in, but I think we desperately need a left back and we need a midfielder.
The
I'd
left
bank
backs
on
is
Kiriakopoulos.
Kyriakopoulos.
Yeah, I'd bank on that.
Kyriakopoulos, and you
Yes.
can play your Kotsiras and Calabria if need be. Either thing. Not very well, but they're your kind of options there.
Yeah. But the mid whoever we sign as midfielder has to be first choice. I mean,
Agree. Agree.
that's where the pain is. And then after that, whether it's Bandelidi, whether it's Dede, whether it's a new left back, I mean, it's up to debate, right? But I just feel like with Pelistri on the right and Boko as a backup, we may not choose to fill that right position that Dede's left behind. So, because Pantovic is now on the list as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. We put him on for Dessers.
And there's still this mystery about Dessers as to when he comes back as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because there was conflicting reports because they announced that he was out for 2 months and they were going to send him to Greece, and then they put up the Nigerian FA, whatever, put up a thing, welcome back Dessers. But
Yep.
but the thing is that they were saying initially that he was getting sent back to Greece for rehab, and then the commentator this morning talked about he's out for 2 months. So I don't know what's accurate and what isn't. I'm going to lean towards the Greek rather than the phone scammers here, the Nigerian princes. So
Well, he wasn't in the squad for that last game, even though they said welcome back. So I don't know how you can welcome someone back and not have him in that final squad.
yeah, we're just sending Panathinaikos and Alaf was also one of those scam. I'm a king. Please send me money.
He's
We'll give
gullible
you
enough.
Desses. We'll give you Desses.
He's the long
Um,
lost prince.
yeah. But yeah, that there's that. The other transfer rumors. There's talks that Siopis is on the outer. I think it's starting to look like that. We haven't seen him. It looks like he's been completely dropped out of the favoritism by Rafa. Rafa had him pretty much starting all of the games, and all of a sudden he's not there. So there's talks about, um, yeah, there's talks about Siopis gone. Taborda still is
Mm.
being still linked to an exit. There was initial talks that it was loan. Um, The new club that entered the race was Pisa, that's in the relegation zone in Italy, in the top flight. That was a that was one club that was linked to him. So just have to wait and see what's going to happen with this Taborda mystery because that one's yeah, big mystery. What have you guys heard? Anything else in the rumor mill? Anything that's going to be a little bit more solid, not just garbage? Any Turkish journalist garbage that they spew out? They spew out worse than a
Brozovic.
they spew out worse than a kebab after midnight on the piss. So
No,
No,
nothing,
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 nothing.
nothing. I think the Americans mentioned it last week with Bakasetas, but I can't see that happening this window. I think that's one for season's end. That window in the summer, our winter.
Yeah, I think yeah, in the big window, I think there will be many conversations had with a few of the players, Sudeski, Baka, probably a few others as well. Get that broom out that Tareem asked for.
Yeah.
2 years later.
Better late than never. Better
The
late than
thing is,
never.
though, they didn't set it, but we got to do it properly. We got to do it right. Get rid of the right guys, and more importantly, learn from this last season, this past window, replace them properly. Because how many times have we come on here and mentioned the downgrades from Unai to Taborda, Maximovic to the unreliable Renato, Vayanidis, Calabria, Forti Desses. That's what we got to fix this time round.
Sorry, Sturge. One thing we forgot to mention was Mladenovic is definitely on the
He's
outer.
gone.
Yeah, that's a given.
Yeah, strike him out straight away. He's gone.
Age 34.
So he's probably played his last game already.
Yeah, if he doesn't leave in this window, they try and get him something so he gets a better deal. Um, End of
Oh,
June, he's gone.
Nikas left.
Oh, they didn't even
Gone
say anything.
officially. Yeah, gone. There's clubs in Greece after him and clubs elsewhere in Europe after him.
Clubs in
We've
Europe,
cut other European clubs, but not big, probably small leagues around us, other Balkan leagues, I'm guessing.
Holland or something, I'd
Something,
say.
yeah, well, even a second
Romania,
division. Yeah, something
Cyprus.
like that. Exactly. And Katris has returned. It's
Yeah,
all coming to
Yes.
me from Levadiakos.
Yes.
I've got no idea how much he's going to play. That'll be another thing to keep an eye out on.
I think it's going to be depth, and we might
Yeah,
even.
which
It's going to
does
be
him no
depth,
good, really.
but he's young as well. So it wouldn't surprise me in the Greek Cup you bring him in for depth because I read something about last week. Fike could be on the outer as well.
Yeah,
Well,
read
him
that as
and
well.
Fikai Bregul had raps. Bregul flattered to deceive for the most part, out. Fikai is flattered to deceive, so yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Bregel had that amazing preseason where I
Mm.
thought he was our new star boy, and then you introduce him into the league games against great teams, and he just was in a shell. So hopefully he develops, he gets game time at Panathinaikos and gets to shine. And I think that's a good club for him to step up at. And we signed Kuduri, so we haven't really seen him either.
Depth.
Depth, yeah,
He-
yeah,
yeah, I think he was injured when we signed him. Nothing major though. I think
yeah,
he's back in training, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see when we do see him take the field.
yeah,
Talk
yeah,
talk was that he was earmarked for the cup because he's under 21 and ticks that box, but Boko was able to satisfy that in the last game.
yeah. I thought he was good as well, Boko.
Yep.
Um, we'll move on from transfers now. We've got two big games coming up. And even the Greek League game is still going to be considered big. The first one's Ferencváros away in Europa League. That is Friday morning here in Australia, and that's at 7 a.m. everywhere. So in Greece, it is the Thursday night game.
10
Look,
local time, yeah.
Ferencváros. Now, before I ask you guys to step in, how you guys feel, I signed Ferenc Varos's goal scorer, who was like scoring for fun there in Europe and in the league. I saw him today, and he didn't do anything. He was not impressive. He was just nothing. So I'm gonna take the a grain of salt with how Ferenc Varos performed in the Europa League, even though they're sitting
They're
pretty
sick.
good. But yeah, just I'm just a bit bamboozled. How do you guys see that game coming up?
I expect it to be tough. Tough. I would say hungry, so hostile atmosphere. I know it's a smaller stadium because there was a big demand from our fans for tickets. Not many of them were able to get tickets successfully, so I'm expecting a big atmosphere from them. They've got a lot to play for. We also have a lot to play for ourselves. 1 point, one more point from these last two games should do it. I would say prioritize this game because Rome is going to be ridiculously hard after this one. Go all out and look. If these guys, as professional footballers, if they have any self pride, any self respect, they'd go out and we would see a reaction from them. If they cared about their own selves, their own careers, they would come out and the leadership now, Bakasetas, he'll play in this one. We need to see a reaction. I do expect a reaction. I don't know in terms of a result how that's going to go, but I expect us to be fired up. We have to be. I don't know much about Ferencváros, but I think them being at home and they are sitting in sixth, they'll try to seize the game, playing at home, dictate terms, proceedings, try to control the midfield, which could well suit us. We'll have the space and try hit them on the counter. That's how I would imagine it pans out. But again, I don't know much about him. Even Varga, that's signed now for AEK, I don't know much about him. They've had some good runs though in recent years, Ferencváros in Europa and Conference League. Like their club coefficient is their rankings pretty impressive.
Yep. They've sold another player too, Alex
Yeah.
Toth.
Yes.
He's gone EPL. So there's certainly
They're two players that are, yeah.
yeah, they're two best players they've lost. But they are no doubt. I mean, they're above us in the Europa League ladder. They've had much better form over the last few years in Europe. They should be favourite on paper, no question about it.
They will be.
If our boys psychologically can hold up after that 4-0 loss and play for what is a priority game, then doesn't mean that we can't get a result there. I still think there's a results possible if our boys are switched on and focused on the task at hand. For me, interesting Sturge's points earlier about Rafa and the starting 11 choices made against AEK. I feel like this game, any chance of getting a point or a win is going to be really dependent on the starting 11 he chooses. And that's going to be the most interesting thing of all. Something tells me that Renato Sanchez will get a start because he looked lively against AEK when he came on. Right, so let's call that as positive. I got a feeling he'll reward him for that start. But I do fear our backline once again. And I think that's going to be the make or break for this game as well.
Look, I just did a quick look at the predictions, early odds. Ferencváros is favorite, but not by much. Even the predictions have them just slightly ahead. I think it was like 39% their favorite to win, 29, 32 draw, 29 us win. Um, I think it might be a bit understated, especially with their top goal scorer gone and their other player gone. Um, I think they've been weakened at a bad time losing those two players. They've had a bit of a extended break now. Their last official game was on the 20th of February, and they've just played three friendlies since in 5 days. Um, against some team called Holstein Kiel, which they lost 2-0. They played on the 13th against Rapid Wien, who's not traveling too well in Austria. They lost 1-0, but they picked up an okay result against Midtjylland, 1-1. Their first official game will be against us. So they've had a bit of a break and they've pumped hard the friendlies. Now, there's not too much detail of what squads they put out, etc. But just worth noting regarding that as well. Um, that game, look, could it be a classic Panathinaikos win? Let's hope. I think it's not going to be easy. None of these European games are easy. We've seen even with some pretty pathetic teams, we've had to work hard, and some we've won, some we've lost. So it's going to be another scrappy game. I'm gonna see it as going to be something similar to Malmo with just a little bit more quality from their end. Um, so yeah, I think it's going to be scrappy game. Probably if we're going to win, it'll be probably like what late winner, 80 plus minutes, something like that. If we're gonna do the job. Um, so that's that take. And the next game is at Atromitos in the Greek League. Obviously, huge game because we've come off our fifth derby, so we've only got one more derby left. The other boys have two, two, and three derbies to go. So you kind of think from here our games should start looking to get easier. We do have Atromitos away, and Atromitos are not traveling well at all. They're sitting second last at the moment. A little bit of a cluster with Larissa and Tripolis, but this is not the same Atromitos team that has really troubled us over the years. Um, so a win here will set us again on path. Important game because it's going to really determine what the chase looks like, chasing down that top four. So um, big match for me against Atromitos. I didn't really see what the Greek League schedule looks like to put it in context as well.
Whilst you check, I don't know if Olympiacos are showing no signs of slowing down. They've got a game coming up tomorrow morning, overnight our time. I think they'll win that. They extend the gap on us. For me, we have to win pretty much every game between now on in, from now, the whole run in, to
Yeah,
be any chance of fourth.
look, and we know, and judging why it's important next week, the other boys have pretty easy games themselves. So Olympiacos are playing against Volosu. We know Bell's
Hmm.
Marinaki's side bitch. We got, Aikaseras Tripolis and we got Kifisia PAOK as well. So, and we've weakened Kifisia taking Bandelidis and Tete. So very, very important that we get that win against the Atromitos. And yeah, we played them not long ago and we beat them 2-0 and it was fairly comfortable. It was a fairly comfortable game where Atromitos, it was not even a chance from memory we gave them. Um, so yeah, that's the end of the FC talk. Basketball. Now, usually we say, why can't we have both teams going well? We usually have one good, one bad, but not this time. Basketball, we succumbed to a loss against Bayern on the road. Now, Bayern is fairly weaker team, a team that we really haven't had difficulty with. It was a game that we had no none. It was a game that we were up by 6 heading into the final quarter and then decided to shit the bed and we lost by 7, 85 to 78. Um, really shocking game. Really shocking game. Really shit the bed. And defensively, we couldn't even stop Bayern's three points as, they were just bombing us with 3 points and we just don't have any perimeter defense. Grant is essentially our only perimeter defender. Um, we just could not contain Bayern Munich's 3-point scoring and they beat us. Absolutely smashed us in that fourth quarter. Just had no answers. Um, when you allow a team to shoot like that, 3 point is what at almost 46%, you're gonna lose the game. It's a common theme that teams that spread the floor quick against us, hit those threes, more likely not they're gonna beat us. I think I remember that against Fenerbahce in the Final Four last year, spreading the floor, winning the rebound, spreading the floor, 3-point, bang, open 3 points, and seeing similar patterns that our defending, especially perimeter defending, is just not good enough. And then overnight, we played another can say another European game against Bulk up there. Um, we did beat them. They like to always keep it close, especially when we play them in Thessaloniki. So 74 to 69 victory. And shooting was pretty poor as well. If you look at overall stats, 25% from 3 point, it looked like it was a more of a balanced approach. With the scoring, no one really scoring high. Osman top scoring with 13 points, but it looks like it was a fairly balanced um, thing. Now, I want to apologize for everyone because I can see it and I can't stop laughing. Panathafan looks like you've got like the Mustaki, like an Austrian painter there that's
Yeah.
happening. So I'm not gonna, yeah. I don't know if it's the lighting. So
I thought it was the lighting. It's not.
no, it
No,
is the
bro.
lighting. It's the
It is the
shadow.
lighting. That's what I was going to
This
say.
is
Yeah.
It's the
it's a
shadow.
lighting. No,
Yeah.
no, no. There's no attempt. Let me clarify. Definitely no attempt to resemble any historical figures there.
Any Austrian painters. But yeah, there's two vital EuroLeague games coming up, and they're against more of the teams sitting closer to the bottom. The home game against Baskonia, followed by an away game against a rival of ours that just always gives us trouble, which is Maccabi. This season, they're not sitting too well, but knowing Maccabi, they're going to take the game to us. Two big games. Need both games to win because at the moment in the EuroLeague ladder, we are sitting eighth. Um, it's not where you want to be sitting, especially for a club like us. What we demand is minimum top four. That's the minimum requirement. Um, Always top two should be the focus. At the moment, we are sitting eighth. It's basically because of the for and against. Um, but we need two games just to keep touch. We are sitting two games behind first and second place, but they are two winnable games. Um, Panathafan, what do you think about this? And obviously, you recently went to the EuroLeague game against Upperwell as well.
Yeah, and that Hubble game now is like a distant memory considering how we've played in recent times. I'm actually going to refer to some of the games I saw in the Greek league that I watched when I was over there because it was easy to catch the games being on Earth and at a decent time as well. And certainly got the impression that we're nowhere near close to solving our problems to play like a team and to cover our shortcomings, even in the Greek league, like to lose, so to win games like one of the games against Kardica as well, where we didn't look convincing at all. I think we're just going through the motions and again, we seem to be heavily reliant on two or three individuals to carry us over the line for the win. And one could argue that probably we don't try too hard in those games, which is could be a fair statement, but with none missing from that buy-in game, really just puts more and more pressure on the few players left that can carry the team, like a Sluka. But whilst we have depth on paper, we don't really have depth in practice based on what this club needs and what the team needs, and it's a crying shame. And I don't know if Ataman sees it or if he thinks the problem's there, and DPG obviously is saying patience will turn around, but it's been a little while now. And even at the Hupperwell game, whilst we were there watching it as a family and we won that game, I can't say that we were absolutely rock star performance either. I think we got Hupperwell on a bad night.
There's still rumors that there's going to be a player signing, so it's been kept tight-lipped at the moment. But I think is looking likely that we will get a player, whether it's going to be in the center or the power forward position. That's going to be remain to be seen there. Which one we get, which position that we feel, or someone that can play both. But
There's no. there's no doubting Mitoglu is way off form. And
And he's
if the,
injured. He's out for a couple of months, I think, as well.
is he?
Yeah.
Okay, didn't catch that. All right. So that may explain why his form's been so poor as well. But that's a position I would have said is first and foremost a priority.
Yeah. Yeah, he's not, compared to previous 2 seasons, not really capturing that same form. And we haven't seen Grigonis either, which is a shame. We could use
Did
him.
absolutely.
But apart from that, yeah, I think we're reaching towards the end of the chat. I'm just scouring anything else that we may miss, or anything just breaking or thing. But looks like all bases are covered. Yeah. Anything you boys want to add? Anything you boys want to finish up with?
But bring it back to the FC for a moment. I know that after a 4-0 loss, there's not much you can say that's positive. It's negative and in many big ways, but I still do feel like Cozzoli and Corona is a step in the right direction. And I do think that we're going to give them to the end of this transfer period to prove themselves in terms of what they're bringing in, also what they're getting rid of as well. So I'm willing to give those boys a bit of time to prove themselves, and hopefully they can turn this ship around. Because I don't think others are capable of doing it.
I think on a lighter note, shout out to Coots and our Americans, our Greek Americans. There, the guys we rotate with. I know Andoni loves him. The guy behind me here that's taken Greek TV by storm. I know Sturge, you can't stand the guy, but Alafuzos must be loving it. Ratings bonanza because of this man right here.
Absolute clown. Absolute clown. That's finishing
Big,
on a
big
bad
bottle
note,
boy.
not on a light note. That's a bad note for me.
Is it wrong for me to say that I've got no idea who the guy is?
You got no
Other than
idea. You sound like a
I,
photo.
he's on Survivor, I know that much, but that's as much as I know about the guy.
He's an entrepreneur from New Jersey, bro. He's
And
got a reality show, Trap House, Hustle House, something. He calls himself the OG for the Big City Covers.
he's taking his show by storm, I imagine.
Taken the whole Greek society. He's had arguments, run-ins constantly with a former ethnic kid player, Sifakis, a
Oh,
goalkeeper.
Sifaki, yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah. I know Andoni loves him. Coots loves him.
Ah, and
yeah.
I'll grab the last thing on a yeah, on a very happy note. This is episode 99. We're one off 100, so um, pleasure obviously with you guys chatting, the Americans as well, getting on the podcast as well, interactions with fans when they reply, everything, questions, comments, feedback, etc. Thank you. Next episode, we are hoping to get, if not all participants, get a cross feed between obviously America, Australia, hopefully Arkonda, who keeps on dogging me as well. Hopefully he gets a cameo as well. But yeah, hopefully the episode 100 we can just celebrate, just have each other on as well. But yeah, thank you all. Always helps. Comments, likes, reposts, retweets, everything, interactions as well. Gents, always a pleasure. Take care. Thank you, listeners.